Welcome everybody. We're back here, 2 week hiatus, the watch list. Ready for action here, the Latin Nerds Network, of course, ready to go over all the releases on streaming over the past couple weeks. And as always, setting you up for what's coming out the following week, which promises to be another big week after 2 weeks of lots of releases. I don't want to hear there's nothing to watch. What I watch, trust me, there's plenty. This is what we're here for, so you can set up your very own watch list. And let me introduce my co-hosts who will be going over all the shows and movies, etc., etc. That is of course live from Houston, big bro himself, Senor Jaime, aka Chewy. How you doing?
Hey, brother, what's going on, man? Welcome back.
That's true. Yeah, I had a little vacay, little San Fran. I was on the West Coast.
Miss
West Coast
Coos?
action, some nice weather, Napa Valley, etc., etc. But a couple long flights, so it gave me time to catch up, although I wasn't really around, so that's a good thing. With some stuff, it was a bad thing. We'll get into that. So, Chewy, listen, there was tons of stuff that came out the last couple weeks, and again, we have another huge, big week of releases of stuff coming out. So we're gonna go over quickly some stuff that doesn't require a whole lot of conversation, but I figure we mentioned those coming out, so at least want to give you our thoughts on it. Chewy, if you have something different to say about any of these first few things, please chime in. Real quickly, the first one, a couple of movies. One was on Netflix, Fistful of Vengeance, which was this War Assassins. If you guys are familiar with that show, kind of, I don't know, continuation film or whatever the case is, same cast for the most part. And man, it's disappointing. It was not good. It was not good. Silly, badly written. Even the action, which
It,
I'll
it,
forgive a
kept-
good action, but the action was a couple of moments, but it was at best.
I kept falling asleep, man.
Yeah,
It was bad.
it's not good.
It was bad.
Yes, now I was hoping. Listen,
I expected so much more
I did.
because I actually like the show,
Yeah, no, I
and
like the
and we
show.
got
Yeah,
we got the time jump is whack. The action was not like the show. It was
no,
just
the action's not good.
yeah.
There's some moments here and there that a good what I like to call toma moments. Very when someone gets it hardcore, but very far and few in between for the most part. Disappointing. There's not. If he hasn't seen, had interest, I honestly recommend not to. Another one which I know Chew has nothing to say on. I'm sure he didn't see it, but that was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Another redo. Well, it's not a redo. It's actually a sequel to the original. So it retcons everything, kind of like Halloween did a couple years back. And listen, I didn't expect nothing out of this film, and I got nothing out of this film for the most part. This is what I call a nice big pile of dog shit with some delicious icing on top. So you cut the
Mm.
beginning part and then disgusting because it's bloody as fuck, and that's awesome. Don't get me wrong. If that's your thing, you just want to see blood, guts, and all kinds of shit. Okay, fine, check it out. Anything beyond that is nonsense. It's terrible. It's not good. But listen, at least they got the gore right. So for whatever that's what that sounds like your cup of tea, that's all you really care about. Then by all means, I wouldn't say not to watch it. Anything beyond that, yeah, that's a wrap. There was a couple of documentaries. One I didn't see. I think you did too, but one I did see, and this one wasn't bad. This is not bad. I'm not gonna talk bad about it. And that's Downfall. The case against Boeing was obviously chronicling the events that led to two plane crashes, Boeing planes. Of course, Boeing was, the gold standard in avionics and engineering as far as developing and selling of the planes and all that. So they had two within 5 month period. So there's a lot of questions why that occurred, and I guess it was a new system they created. And kind of take a deep dive into that. It was interesting, but it was a little bit dry for me. To be honest, I didn't love it. It's okay. Chu, would you like this one?
No, I would agree. Um, I mean, very factual, very dry.
Yeah.
Um,
It's interesting. Don't get me wrong. The subject
yeah,
matter is okay. Oh wow, I didn't realize what happened.
especially yeah, especially when you get the history of Boeing and the changes, and obviously they kind of explain what I guess, and from a higher level how this occurred, right? From the reputation they had to when you merge companies, change management, put profits ahead of people. This is the net result, and so there you go.
Right. Yeah. So it led to that. So yeah, it's an okay watch. If you're into documentaries, I'm not.
Mhm.
Watch it, but just curb the expectations a little bit. The other ones I was looking forward to, I just didn't. It was too much to catch up on. I probably will catch up this week, or maybe depending on the stuff that's coming out. But that's Lincoln's Dilemma on Apple
Mm.
Plus. I have no clue. Chewy, I assume you
Ex-
got some.
Excellent,
Really that good?
excellent,
Okay.
excellent. Yes,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, and
I
that's
thought so.
obviously because of President's Day. There's several things ongoing or have been ongoing on History Channel and some other channels. But this was a very good 4 part documentary. with focusing on the aspect of Lincoln, and obviously with the Emancipation and Civil War. But again, it deep dives into the person, the man, and his decisions and his evolution to a certain extent, and puts into context really, you know, his thoughts, but the prevailing thoughts at that time across the country, right? So it wasn't, it was never, even though as we had taught history, this is black and white, and during the time, it really was not, right? Because it wasn't just about, because they had questions as far as not only freeing the slaves, but what to do with the slaves, right? Were they citizens? Were they not? People were anti-slavery, but there was also abolitionists, and they're not the same thing. And so all these ideas play, and obviously the politics at the time, and with everything ongoing. So, but I mean, it's very, very well done. I enjoyed watching all four parts.
Okay, good. I think this one Edgar Wright was not Edgar Wright. Wrong Wright. Man, I forgot his name from Westworld. He's
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright. I'm sorry.
Jeffrey
Yes,
Wright.
thank you. Yes, he narrates, right? Am I wrong?
I don't think so.
It's not him.
No,
I thought it was him. This one. Okay.
maybe I didn't recognize it or I didn't pay attention because I was
Okay.
more into the South Park and
No,
Fast
no.
Park
Okay.
generation. But it's combination. I mean, it does voice actors because they recreate some scenes and
Sure.
conversations and the speeches and more the ideas, right, of what was happening at the time and how it progressed.
Okay. No, like I said, this was on my watch list, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't have the time, but for sure I'm watching this one, and I heard good things about it. Yeah. Speaking of Jeffrey Wright, he's in Batman, which I'll be seeing tonight. Yeah. So my review will be up. I think the embargo list tomorrow morning at 9 Monday. So just a little cheap plug, but check out the Batman review coming up. Truly, I want to no, we slow it down here. I want to focus on a couple of shows from last week that I think worth maybe having a discussion that I can
Okay.
recommend. Well, I'll see if you agree or not. The first one is on Peacock, and that is
He thought.
Bel Air, the remake reboot, of course, of The Fresh Prince of Bel Air, the very popular '90s show starring the one Will Smith. This is a reimagining, I guess, reboot, whatever the case is, kind of trying to keep some of the same
It's not a
aspects.
reboot. It's a reimagining.
Reimagining, yeah, not a reboot. Well,
Yes.
just reboot, I guess, whatever, tomatoes, tomatoes, but
Whatever.
whatever.
Call it what
Yeah,
you
so
want.
the story is essentially the same, right? Some kid from Philly playing basketball, shit happens, and now he's a little more darker than in this show, but he's forced to flee, head out west in Bel Air, spend time with Uncle Phil and his aunt and whatever, and there's Carlton, and I forgot the sister's name, a couple of sisters. By the way, so the premise is the same. They even have this guy who's named Jazz or something like that, who's I guess an Uber driver who kind of he meets and befriends or whatever the case is. There's the butler who
He doesn't get thrown out.
hasn't get thrown out of the house. I was looking forward to like, yeah, no, damn.
No.
Fantastic. Such a good show. Really underrated. So all the elements are there, and I was like, I don't know what they're gonna do with the show. And at first, I'm like, I wasn't digging it. I think it was relying too much on here's Jazz and here's the butler, whatever. And yeah, the butler is not exactly the butler per se, but it kind of make
No,
no, he's way more. Yeah, the show goes in. Yeah, he's just not. He's a caretaker of not even. That's not the right word. But either way, he is what he is. But as the show progressed, I think I got a little bit better. Kind of moved away from trying to be and show as hey Bel Air, Fresh Prince, and become his own thing. It's not bad actually. I'm kind of digging it. I'm not loving it, but it's not bad. Show. What do you think?
no, I'm enjoying it. It's I guess more drama than comedy.
Yeah, it's not a comedy
To be
at
honest with
all.
you, yeah. No. It's not a 30-minute sitcom. Far from it.
Mm-hmm.
But it has some very, very interesting elements and themes that they're playing on. It's a good story and it's a good watch, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's not must watch TV.
No, it's not, but
But
it's good filler. And actually, I think
yeah.
they deviate from even some of the character that Carlton's not Carlton that you know and grown to love, right? He's
No,
different, right?
no.
Which is I
Well,
mean, and
well, I
that's a
mean,
good thing.
he is and he's not. I mean, he's still. I guess
He's still
I would
an
classify him as
elitist, right?
preppy, elitist preppy, right?
Yeah,
Because he's grown up with money and the upper echelon of education and stuff. So he plays, lacrosse
right.
and obviously both of his friends are white. He goes to a highly acclaimed white, academy or
Hmm.
education, right, in Bel Air. So people with money and means. Um, but
But he's more savvy
it's
here, I think.
probably
Yeah,
yes.
more
Yeah.
aggressive.
He's
You know,
not the aloof
right,
character as you see him in the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, right? Where
right.
he's probably more a comedy plot device than as a character, except for a few episodes. But here he's central to the development of Will and the story that's
Right.
ongoing.
And their relationship's a little more,
Hmm.
you know,
Confrontational to say
combative.
the
Yeah,
least.
exactly. So, which is good. The Hillary, even her character, that's her name, Hillary. She's totally different
Mm-hmm.
from what we've seen in the show. So they do take things beyond what the show did, and it's good. Like I said, it touches a lot of, as you know, the
Hmm.
social issues going on. It's very relevant, so it makes sense that
Hmm.
the show still continues. So it's a good watch. Check it out again on Peacock. I think Mondays, dropping weekly shows.
Thursdays.
I'm sorry, is it
Thursdays.
Thursdays? I thought it was Mondays. Either way, so
Yes.
yeah,
No, it's
Thursdays.
Thursdays.
Okay,
It's
Thursdays
Thursdays.
Peacock
Yes.
weekly drop and all that. So that's one I can I
Peacock.
can recommend. The next one, of course, we're talking about this one. We don't spend too much time, but the fourth season dropped of the marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon Prime, weekly shows on Fridays, or dropping two shows I guess on Fridays. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I only seen three. I know four came out. I didn't realize that there was a fourth one until after. I was like, oh, it's too late. But be done. Listen, this show that we both really enjoy. I think this show's off to a good start. There's some really good stuff. There's one scene in a Ferris wheel which is so well executed. It's phenomenal. It's just so good.
That's comedy
It
gold,
really
Jerry.
is.
It's gold.
It's really gold, Jerry. It's gold. Just some really good stuff in there. Again, if you haven't seen the show, not gonna know what we're talking about, but it's one I've always told people to go back and watch. It's a really funny show. It's about it takes place in the late 50s, early 60s.
50s. Yeah, late
It's
50s.
a housewife just got divorced and she finds a way into comedy, which is not exactly a world a woman is supposed to be in, at least seen in that time. And so that her life is turned into upheaval with her family and ex-husband, etc., etc. But it's really good. Such a funny show, and it's just sharply written. Despite the third season being okay, I think this one's picking up better. Again, a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
particularly out of oh my God, what's to go with the hat, the plumber, I forget her name.
Midge.
No, not Midge, her friend, manager,
Oh.
the manager. I forget her name. Either way, doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, the one with the hat. Either way,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really good. It's another great little kind of almost like the Ferris wheel scene in a dinner table scene. They just have a great way of having these weird conversations they're just so funny. It's just so, and everyone brings their A game. Tony Shalhoub's phenomenal. Ms. Mabel, she owns his role like you wouldn't believe. So good, it really is. I mean, I can't recommend the show enough. This is
And
for
we got Lenny Bruce again.
Lenny Bruce comes back, so it's good. It's for me it's must watch in terms of comedies. I think so. For Amazon Prime, it's been around for it's 4 seasons. Not that I thought it was the last one. It's not true. I think
No,
you
season 5 is the last
yeah.
season.
So okay, so
Or will be the
I'm
last
sure it's going
season.
to be setting that up. The finale eventually
Mm-hmm.
coming out, but yeah, absolutely. This is one you actually haven't seen it. I highly recommend you guys go back and watch this from the beginning if you haven't already. The other one, which really now it's surprising, but I was pleasantly surprised, is Severance on Apple Plus. And I gotta look, Apple Plus. I gotta say, listen, I wasn't a big fan of them early on, but they're bringing their A game as of late. You mentioned, Lincoln. Obviously it's as good as I'm sure it's as good as you say it is, but shows like it was a Suspicion. The After Party and something like now with Severance, and we've seen Ted Lasso. You're a fan of C, and not me particularly, but Foundation's great. But there's
Mm-hmm.
another one like this, and Ben Stiller directs this one. Dude, I was really fascinated by the show. 3 episodes, weekly drops on Fridays as well,
Mm-hmm.
and great premise because it deals with it seems like a life in the office kind of, but there's a procedure that's known out there. It's not a secret procedure that's called severance, where a person can have his mind, I guess, adjusted, to lack of a better word, to where they can separate their work and personal life. So when they're at work, they have no memories at all of where they are in their personal end. And when they leave work, they have no recollection or memories of what they do at work at all. So it's a very controversial thing. It's very fascinating. It's very thought provoking, and it's that touching on that as the show goes on. But obviously, things at work aren't what they seem, and the main character is learning that perhaps there may be something more going on. There's a lot of strange shit going on in this office, and there's someone who
For
used
this company, I mean, this whole
the
company.
company, right? The company
It's
itself, right?
yeah.
And what exactly?
Everything's very segregated.
Yeah,
You have different departments, but and what they do is not really clear. What do they do, right? There's one scene where they're going to screen and they gotta segregate these numbers, and I'm not sure if that's people, if that's a program, if there's something else going on there. You just don't know because the information is not free flowing. They report to a couple of folks. It's a small group, but they interact with other people, but they're everything's separated, segregated on purpose for
yes.
at this one area,
And
right?
and
And
yeah,
whoever's got
and
to
this
the
is
top.
one character I guess used to work with the team that the main character
Mm-hmm.
involved, and he was let go, whatever the case is, and he's the one that comes across him and tries to tell him, hey, there's something going on. But he himself, his memory still, he had a procedure to have it reversed, but it's having effects on him mentally. So yeah, and so it's a good mystery, man. Very intriguing. I love the premise, man. This is really good, man. It's just this could be potential must watch depending on how the show ends up on the last 5 6 episodes, whatever is left. But Apple Plus, man, they're bringing it, dude. Did you like it as much as I did?
But yeah, man, I really loved it. I mean, the first episode just had me ajar because it was kind of jarring as far as I don't know what was going on,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then we got a little reveal at the end. You're like, oh, okay, now I see where this is going, right? It's not as simple as they're just separating work because they want to keep work private because they do something,
Right.
very secretive for the government or whoever. No, it's a lot more beyond that.
Yeah.
Um, and the character escape. The way that they've shot this show, where they're interacting his memories and his what he sees and his memories, because everything is a jumbled mess in his head.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's trying to figure out what's going on, these memories seem to get him into place with the two they were friends in the business environment and stuff. And another great scene with kind of hit brings the point home as far as how they separate work from your personal life, or how they created this device. The one character, the lady who they're onboarding at the beginning of episode one, and he tells her, and so it's so weird because he tells her, yeah, you can walk out that door and yeah, you can leave, right? Go ahead. And the very next second, she's back in the same hallway. We're like, what the hell is going? Like she's going.
Yeah.
And so in the subsequent episode, they explain once she goes out that door, her memory just switches, right? And so she's outside, and then because one from the outside, one to the inside, she goes back from one to the inside, wants to get to the outside. And so it's just
Yeah, because they're
juxtaposition.
both unaware of what
Yes,
just happened. So she's walking in
yes.
thinking, oh, I gotta get back to work, and she goes back, oh, I want to leave here. So it's almost like revolving door. There's no way
Mhm.
around it. You can't communicate with yourself. They don't allow that. There's ways to prevent that from happening. Very
Yeah,
great
and see,
premise. Yeah.
and there's one character is Shrine, right? She's writing
Mm-hmm.
codes on her arms. And she puts together like "get me out" and stuff, trying to swallow a message, and there's obviously they've thought of every means to try to prevent that from
Right,
happening.
and the repercussions to be had are interesting, and I'm not exactly sure which
If
is
it's
good,
true
right?
or
The
not,
mystery
yeah.
is not just about the premise is great, right? But they don't rely on the premise. They're going deeper than that, which is really cool, right? The premise is the catalyst for what's happening, but they can
Mm.
just talk about the dangers of doing this and then leave it at that. But it's not that, or a typical office environment. It goes way beyond that. So it's a very fascinating show. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. Good Apple Plus, man. Apple
Mm.
Plus is making his move here. It's
Mm.
climbing up the charts in terms of streaming services. I gotta say that line. I know they're investing a lot of money in this, so kudos to them. But it probably was my favorite show out of the 2 weeks that came out, particularly on the
Okay.
new side. So must watch definitely. I got Apple Plus on Fridays. 3 episodes in thus far. Another one here, Netflix dropped is one of the shows that came out this week, and that's Back to 15. This like comedy, which I was behind solely because this is the Latiners Network. This is a Brazilian show, and I support my Latino brethren. So I have to
Shout out to Eric da
the Silva,
Silva.
of course, my co-host for the nurse planning here every Thursdays. Yeah, I gotta watch it. Yeah, so I'll watch it because I have to give it a shot, despite my reservations. Um, this one here is about a 30-year-old woman, I guess, who finds a way to I guess travel through time. And back when she was 15, 2006, I believe, was the date when she was in high school, started high
Yes,
school,
yes,
whatever
it
the
goes
case
back to
is, right?
2006.
And of course, as the more
High
she
school,
gets
high school
involved,
freshman.
yeah, high school freshman, she starts doing things which, of course, affect the future. And nothing new. This is like we've seen 100 of these movies, or 13 going on 30, kind of it's this switching time travel. It's been done to death, right? This doesn't really bring anything new to the table here at all, except for the fact
Well,
that every so
I guess
often,
the only new thing I would say is this is not where you go back once or she goes back
right?
and change. No, this is like where she goes back. Like first she doesn't realize she thinks she's dreaming,
Mhm.
and she there's this one event the first day at high school that she completely changes, right, because she thinks it's a dream, and so she just puts herself out there, right, to
Hmm.
be herself and independent, and then she flashes back forward. And whatever she did changed, but then she doesn't remember what everything that changed from that point to where she's at now, and so she's trying to play catch up, and she goes back again and again and again. So it's this constant interaction going back and
Yeah,
forth.
which is the only new wrinkle, I guess, because most shows will go
Yes,
back, and kind of
they
coming
go
of
back once,
age,
everything changes, and everyone's happy.
right, and they
Yeah,
go back.
whatever.
Oh, my life is so great. And I get it, right? And this show does do some of that. It's like
Hmm.
35 to 45-minute episodes, 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, short episodes.
Listen, is it awful? No. Is it great? No. Is it good? That's you can debate that. I wasn't a fan, but at the same time, I'm being supportive. So I watched most of it. I'll probably finish it because goddamn, I gotta stand behind it. Gotta stand behind it. You know, when Oscar Isaac changing our last names and shit. You know, to be a gringo, we are Latinos, so we support that
Theo
shit.
Pepe.
Bastard. But so that being said, yeah, it's full of cliches. I mean, we've seen the story 100 times. Nothing new. Chewy, what do you think?
No, it's okay. I mean, obviously, it's hard to get the humor when you're reading subtitles.
Sure.
And maybe that's part of the problem because if I knew Portuguese, maybe I'd understand it and maybe I'd laugh a lot more. It's got its moments. It's got heart. It's got humor, right? Because it's supposed to be
Yeah,
funny
it's very light
in
show.
what she does.
Yeah.
But when you're reading subtitles, sometimes what you hear the characters speak and you can pick up a few words, and when you're reading it, you kind of that laughter element is lost. That
Sure.
lost in translation.
No, that's
Not that it's not funny, but it's one thing when you see something
sure.
and the guy's making a joke and you laugh, and then you see the guy everyone's reaction, but you have to go down and look at the subtitles, see what they're saying, and then maybe you do an internal that's funny or that's haha, right? But you're not outwardly laughing because you're not partaking in the joke because you don't get it. You don't understand. You can't hear it at the same
No,
time.
I agree.
But
Cause, yeah, because I wasn't laughing much.
yeah,
Not that I was like,
yeah.
like I said, it's not terrible. It's fine, right? For what it's trying to accomplish, it's fine. It does that. It's okay. I'm not gonna say no, but I mean, again, if you're desperate for something to watch,
You're
whatever.
not saying yes either.
I'm not saying yes either. I'm not saying no. So just one of those like, listen, you got absolutely nothing to watch, which I find hard to believe, but maybe you caught up, and that's fine. Okay, give it a shot. If this is up your alley, it's more like kind of. I'll put this more like in a rom com kind of category. Am I wrong, Chewy? I guess maybe
Yeah,
perhaps
yeah, yeah,
you
yes,
know than anything
absolutely.
else.
Yeah.
So you know where these things are. Well, you know where this is going for the most part.
Mm.
But that being said, again on Netflix coming out, that show we're looking forward to, and that's Vikings Valhalla.
Valhalla.
And I'll say this. I wasn't like really looking forward
Uh-oh.
to the show as much, right? Figure, okay, here we go again, whatever. And I like Vikings, the original, of course, show. But give me a sword, dude.
Ragnar Lothbrok.
Give me a sword. Point me to England, and I'm gonna stand behind my Viking brotherhood and vengeance here. Let's do this.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, man, I am in this show. This show proves that Vikings can actually kick ass when someone not involved, named of course Kirk Cousins. Sorry, guys. So right, this one the Vikings can really rise to the top here.
That's funny.
That being said, no jokes aside. Listen, this is a really good show. It's really good. I'm three in. I'm liking it a lot, dude. This is obviously, if you've seen Vikings, this is up the alley. It's a little more straightforward narrative than the original show was. This takes place like 100 years from the events
I don't
of
know. I
Vikings.
don't know about that. It's a continuation of the Vikings saga,
It
right?
is.
We
It
had six
is.
seasons. We had 6 seasons on history, which I mean, we had. This is all centered around the legend of Ragnar Lothbrok, which is great,
Mm,
right? Travis Flamel, we now see him on Raised by Wolves, but I mean, it was him and his sons and now it's all within most of his within his lifetime, and the expansion of the Viking
mm-hmm.
Empire per se. And it was a great show. It was interesting. It
Yeah,
was fictionalized. It had great characters. It had very bloody, great battles, which we love to see. The sword and sandals type of
exactly.
thing. And so this is just kind of picking up, 100 years post his death and the death of most of his sons, as they went on to Iceland, to go on into England, into Greenland, and obviously all across Scandinavia. And as you watch these episodes, you get mentions of these legacy characters. They talk about Rollo, who was his
Mm-hmm.
brother, who went to became king of France, I believe, or married to be king of France, and his lineage. We talk about the sons of Ragnar and Ivan the Boneless and those guys who went on to great things in their time. So it's not like it's completely made up. It's just taking a step forward.
Right,
But you
exactly.
get some very interesting character. Leif Erikson, that character is great.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the other current king of Norway, and so all this is on the vengeance, right, against things, because obviously that was ongoing for hundreds of years, back and forth to the conquering of England and obviously in Scandinavia and the Mediterranean and whatnot. So great show. I mean, I'm loving it, man. I am loving this show.
Yeah, listen, it's definitely. I mean, it's really good. It's really well done. Great production, of
Mm-hmm.
course. It's got that that kind of Braveheart esque kind of scenes, not to that level, but that kind of vibes, got some violence to it, so it's working for me. All cylinders, man. I like what's going on here. So yeah.
My only gripe, honestly, is the intro. I love that
Oh.
Vikings song, man. And they gave me, I was like, it was like 20 seconds. I don't know. It wasn't even a song. I was like, man, you guys skipped out. You couldn't pay the artist to use that song because that was a great. But you heard that song, and that would get you up to watch. You were watching Vikings,
Right,
man. That
right.
was just a great song. I actually found that song years ago and put it on my phone to listen. But it was just one of these. You listen to it, you hear it, and you're like, Vikings.
No, yeah, it's really, yeah. So at least it's living up to that, in terms of quality for the most part. So, but yeah, I'm highly recommend for me, absolutely, if you're into that. And I think you can watch the show even if you haven't seen the original Vikings. I think personally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I mean, they mention the character, but it's not like you
yeah,
don't
it
know who
doesn't
they
remind
are. I mean,
exactly. It's just almost like a new
yeah.
story. I mean, it is a new story, but yeah. So if you even haven't seen Vikings, but you like that kind of thing, kind of Game of Thrones ish kind of style and vibe, yeah, it's
I mean,
I recommend.
they set the table in the first prologue
Yeah,
with the massacre, the
the
Saint.
Purging, yeah.
I can't remember the name of
Oh,
Dave,
Saints.
but the massacre of the
Yeah.
Vikings at Dane Law and the expulsion of them from there, and it take that. So that's the precipice of all this action.
Right, yeah,
So
because
you need to know
the
anything
Vikings are
before
getting
that.
together for revenge against England or whatever. So that's basically the
Hmm.
premise of the show. But yeah, very good.
Hmm.
Recommend. Like I said, you don't have to, if you have seen none of Vikings, but you're still into that, this show I highly recommend. Absolutely, yeah, you're gonna enjoy this one. That being said, that ends what we had for the last couple weeks for the most part. Next week, Chewy, god damn, you sent me a list, and I was like, it was like 8 pages long. It felt like.
It's the last time coming out,
There's a
man.
lot of things that are coming out next Sunday, which we'll mention today,
We'll mention now.
yeah,
Yeah.
next week as well. But you combine those, it's a big list. So let's get started, Chewy. We'll start with we mentioned this a couple weeks ago anyway, but today begins the final season for Killing Eve, of course, AMC.
Hmm.
Show we've both dug a lot. Sandra Oh, Jodie Comer, who we saw recently in Free Guy, which Chewy finally saw because you have to pay for it, the cheap ass.
I can't see it today. I haven't seen it
Yeah, I
yet.
still
Still
haven't seen it.
waiting.
Oh, I take it back. But he's still free and still cheap. That being said, but that one starts today. On the 3rd, we got Paramount. Well, finally, we haven't mentioned Paramount that much at all. But,
Paramount?
we
Doesn't
got
even have like a peacock.
Peacock. Picard, season 2. Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm excited. I don't have Paramount. It's not a show exactly. It's like going to get me to drive to watch, Paramount. Not to
It did me because I like season one,
I
and
like it, but not enough
it's
to. But I mean, Halo is
it
coming out,
was
so I may get it for that.
well Halo more importantly, but I got
Right.
it for Picard because I mean it's I'll be honest with you, it's nostalgia
It
porn
really
as
is.
far as
It
I'm
really
concerned.
is. This.
Love Next Generation growing up. That was the when we were growing, that was what was on TV at the time,
Right.
and the subsequent movies, which some were good, some not so good. But we get this kind of flash forward of Jean-Luc Picard, right? Probably my favorite captain, and so it's just more just the nostalgia effect of it and the previous characters. Yes, it's a it's a time's up and he's retired, he's old, literally. But that's the only reason. And I enjoyed season one, and now season two. Now we get Q, which I think was a fan favorite. I mean, if you're a fan of Star Trek, everybody, I don't think of anyone that says that
Oh no,
type
yeah,
Q.
Q's one of those quintessential characters from that show. Really
Yes.
is. Very first
And so we
episode, yeah,
get
very first
Q.
season, first
Yeah.
episode, and I think it ended
Yes,
and
that's
it
right.
ended with him,
That's
if I'm
right.
not mistaken, too.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that was probably one of the greatest, concluding
That's
episodes
fair.
of any series.
Yeah.
Definitely top five.
No, that's fair.
Because
I agree with
it
that.
brought up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A great finale. Yeah, absolutely. We're so
Yes,
well done. So yeah,
absolutely.
bring it to a close.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it picks again, it just throws Data up number one. It just throws all these characters.
Yeah.
It's really a nostalgia point.
Mhm.
It's an okay show, but I get it. If you're a fan of that, it's hard not to like it because you see all the good shit that you
We have
saw
7 of
growing up, right?
9 and now
Right.
all the characters.
So
now throw in now we got time travel in this season. So I mean, here we go.
that could be a disaster. But we'll wait and see.
Hey, it could be disaster. It could be. What was probably one of the best Star Trek movies, Voyage Home with
Sure.
the whales.
I get it, but listen, let's see. What
Yeah. Well,
know.
look, it comes out Thursday, whatever.
I'll say Chewy Peacock sharing is caring. I'll leave it at that, so you can, what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I thought you had that.
No, I
stuff
don't.
already.
Not that one. Either way.
Oh.
But yeah, please send it to me this week. HBO Max on the 3rd as well. We got 3 things in the 3rd. Next one is The Tourist, HBO Max. I believe this was a BBC show.
Yes, 6 episode BBC One production. So this is not exactly entirely new.
Well, it came out in January, so it's
But
not, you know.
yeah, but now we're getting here in the
Mhm.
U.S., so it comes out
Yeah, I heard
Thursday.
good things
Yeah.
about it, but a guy who wakes up in Australia
So
lost.
and
Yeah.
it takes place in Australian outback. So
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
that's
some guy
good.
wakes up, he has no memory of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Some along those lines. A thriller. I heard it's actually pretty good. So catching that.
Mm-hmm.
Another one which I'm very excited about, and that's Our Flag Means Death, and that is on HBO
Mm.
Max. It's kind of a farcical comedies. Taika with.
Well, like oh, you were about to
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
took my line.
Yeah,
It's like
Taika
all I
with.
gotta
Yeah,
mention is Taika Waititi.
yeah.
I'm
No,
in.
I mean, yo, listen, I love him, and he's in it, and he's also directing a couple of the episodes. He didn't write it,
Mm-hmm.
but to be fair, but you can tell his sensibilities are all over this shit. So it looks funny. It's like
So we get pirates and we get Taika Waititi. That's
I
all you
mean,
need
yeah,
to
that's what I'm
know.
saying. Yeah, so all in. So I think the main guy, he's like an aristocrat, and he'll forego all that and want to become a pirate, and then there, I guess from there. So it looks very funny. It looks very cool. I'm really excited about that one. To be honest with you, on Hulu on the third is the last show that releases on the third. Very busy Thursday apparently, and that's the Dropout.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda Siegfried, is that her name?
Siegfried, yeah,
Siegfried, whatever.
yeah.
Stars in it. I guess it's based on a true story about she's another pharmaceutical one. I guess she creates something, a pill or something, whatever, and things go wrong, whatever the case is. I'm not too sure familiar with it. This is the one also with Kate McKinnon. Is she in this as well? Maybe. Maybe.
I'm not sure. I
I'm
haven't
not
seen
sure.
Kate McKinnon, but
Yeah,
I know Amanda
but yeah,
Seyfried
she stars in
is
it.
in it. Yes.
It's Hulu. Hulu's doing pretty good late recently, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
digging it.
No, this is the one that was based on the Theranos. Remember that she tried to develop the
It
technology
was a technology,
with the
yes.
drop of blood that it could read your DNA, all these
Right.
other
Yeah.
things, and it was a big brouhaha in Silicon Valley because she
Yes.
obviously got a shit ton of venture capital money, and it was all end up lo and behold it was all smoke and mirrors. I think,
Yeah,
right, if I'm not
it
mistaken.
was either bullshit or it just went really wrong. It didn't work or something like that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
interesting. So the recent true account. So I'm looking forward to that one
Mm-hmm.
on Netflix. Pieces of Her, season one comes out on
No
the
thriller.
fourth. Yeah,
Yeah.
thriller starring Toni Collette, who I think she's great, underrated. I'm not sure what the show is about. I saw like just a quick little snippet, but I couldn't get a sense of it. Thriller show, Netflix. I'm sure you're watching that. I know Chewy's very excited because on the 4th as well on Amazon Prime, we have The Boys Diabolical. Right, Chewy? The animated
The
on that?
animated continuation or anthology series of The Boys universe.
Right.
Yes,
Oh, is it an
absolutely.
anthology? I wasn't sure.
I think it's anthology because it's different. Each episode is a different character,
Okay, fair enough.
right?
Okay.
But it's still interacting with the Homelanders and all the characters that we love from obviously the boys
Yeah,
show.
Seth Rogen's involved. So listen,
Hmm.
The Boys. Come on. Obviously, we'll be all over that.
We get another laser baby,
Yeah,
so it's
that's true. The
good.
first episode, yeah. So I'm looking at,
Or
yeah.
lazy toddlers, I should
I
say now.
think I think they're dropping all the usually animated they drop all the episodes. I don't know if they're dropping all the
No,
episodes or
no,
not.
because with Vox Machina they did three a week and
Mm,
some other ones.
okay.
So who knows what they do? But I think Amazon more often than not does not drop
They
everything.
don't like neither those
The same.
Hulu, Netflix will obviously Pieces of Her probably all drop at once, and yeah, and it's HBO. I'm not sure what they're doing either, but in terms
Mhm.
of the tourists and all that. But the week after that, we got a couple of things on Stars, one HBO Max. This is all that starts on Sunday, so this is technically the week after, but we'll mention now to kind of get you guys ready on Stars. It's of course Outlander season 6, I think.
Seven.
7? Wow. Okay. I don't
Yeah.
watch the show, so
It
whatever.
could be six. I don't
Could
know.
be
I've
6.
lost
Yeah.
track how many seasons.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the show and you weren't sure when it's coming out, there you go. Come on next Sunday. And also in Stars we
Mhm.
get Shining Veil, another show. Starring
That's more up your alley.
Courtney
That's
Cox.
with
Yeah.
Courtney
Yeah.
Cox. It's a horror slash comedy,
It
if I'm
is.
not mistaken.
I don't have Stars again. I may see if I can venture into it. We'll see. But the one I'm really looking forward to for me personally is of course Winning Time on HBO Max. The Rise of the Lakers
No, no.
Dynasty.
Is it winning time or is it
It's winning
showtime?
time. They couldn't use Showtime, quote unquote.
Oh, they couldn't.
Yeah,
Oh, I
apparently
put showtime on my list.
this
That's
was
good.
at odds with the NBA. I read some story about it. They didn't want to release
Ah,
certain
stupid
things.
NBA, dude.
Yeah, because
Of
the
course.
way it's portrayed, the portrayal of what happens behind the scenes wasn't in their favor. So, all that being said, Adam
Oh,
McKay
Lord.
directs it.
Mm.
I like Adam McKay a lot. I know Don't Look Up wasn't great, but The Big Short is fantastic. He's done a lot of good comedies. But yeah, this is obviously look Showtime. This is really Winning Time. It's Showtime. It's talking about
It's so
the
tight.
'80s
It's the rise of
Lakers,
the
Magic,
Lakers
Kareem.
dynasty in the
Yeah,
80s.
I
Yeah.
grew up with these guys. My dad was a huge Laker fan. Henceforth, I was a Laker fan. I was a huge Magic fan, and that was the ticket in the '80s for those who grew up in that time. Even now, people know who Magic Johnson is. People know who Kareem is. So I guess it's telling that story and behind the scenes. Looks very interesting. This is probably gonna be a week. Usually, if your show drops on Sunday, it's generally a weekly show.
No, this is a
Yeah,
weekly
weekly
drop.
show,
This
either
is
one
this
or
is
two
HBO
episodes or
Max.
whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, hopefully they do this justice. So yeah, so there we go. So we got six, almost like 10 shows dropping within from Sunday
Yeah.
to Sunday, right? So that's
And we have more that next week. We have another batch of 5 or 6 shows dropping. So it's a busy month
it's
as
a
it
busy
is.
month. That's a good problem to have, right? And listen, not able to get to these shows. This is why you watch us. We'll watch them all, let you know what you should or shouldn't get to, or if you should not be bothered watching them at all. So you watch the one or two that you can.
Who assassins?
Yeah. Fistful of Vengeance. What a letdown that was. I thought on the plane too. I thought the plane should have crashed. It's funny. I was watching Boeing on the airplane. That's pretty brave. Watching a documentary about plane crashes in a plane. That's pretty bold.
Not smart.
Dude, that's how I roll, dude. Yeah, I'm all in, dude. So that being said, that's it for this week. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to watch, and obviously a lot of stuff to watch in the next couple weeks, and we'll keep you apprised of all that stuff. Of course, always don't forget Batman. The Batman review tomorrow comes out this week. Super excited about that. We got Nurse Spending every Thursday. Of course, the watch list every Sunday. Subscribe, like, share, etc. Chewie, again, appreciate your thoughts, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.